Sup everyone, this is Draco Evolve back yet again with some latest Manchester United transfer news and speculation now. And obviously we're going to start off with the thumbnail news, which is Jadon Sancho. So a bit of a read, so bear with me for a second. But Jadon Sancho is ready to play for Liverpool or Manchester United, according to Fruend. So I'm just going to read you out this article and then we have a bit of a discussion around it. And as always, feel free to skip and jump across the video. The former German international admits a big money move is likely to happen, but has used a Real Madrid flop as an example of how deals can go wrong. Obviously, we know a lot of players going to Real Madrid, didn't have the best of times there. Jadon Sancho is ready to play for Liverpool or Manchester United, admits Stefan Fruend, but the Borussia Dortmund winger has seen Real Madrid flop Luka Jovic held up as an example of how big money moves can go wrong. Back in the summer of 2019, after starring in the Bundesliga for Frankfurt, a Serbian international striker became one of the most sought after talents in Europe. A year on, and another shining light within the German top flight rankings is attracting admiring glances from across the continent. Moving on to the article, goes on to say, most of those are coming from England, with Sancho being heavily linked with a switch to either Anfield or Old Trafford. To be frank, this is the first time I've really kind of saw Liverpool come into the window, to the fray you can say, so a bit of a strange one. Former Dortmund midfielder Fruend can appreciate why an England international that has enjoyed a meteoric rise to prominence will be wanted back in his homeland, with goals and assists aplenty continuing to be delivered in 2019-2020. Sancho is, however, just 20 years of age, a year younger than Jovic was when he headed to Spain, and there is a fear that he may be jumping too soon if a transfer is pushed through the next window. So this is what Fruend had to say in TalkSport. Jadon is ready to play for Liverpool or Manchester United, no question, because his stats are unbelievable. That shows that he can take the next step. In Dortmund side with Erling Haaland, Brandt improving, with Emre Can signing, with changing to a back three that suits Sancho. It'll be good for him to play for Dortmund now and next year, so that he will have more match time. He's only 20, so why not play for Dortmund? We're not talking about Freiburg or Paderborn, we're talking about Borussia Dortmund, one of the top clubs in Europe, clearly taking a dig at two clubs. Remember Jovic, who moved to Real Madrid from Frankfurt? He's not playing. If you have an offer from Madrid, you think, I have to go. No, you don't have to go, because the salaries in Bundesliga are on a good level too. Not as much as Real Madrid or the Premier League though. But you can earn good money and improve, and not to make too much of a big step at once. So for Jadon Sancho to move to Manchester United with that pressure, they are struggling to qualify for the Champions League, so maybe it's better to stay another year in Dortmund. The article goes on to say, Fruend has also suggested that those currently coveting Sancho's signature may be best advised to wait on the tabling of any bids, as financial implications of the pandemic are likely to see asking prices drop across the board. He added, if the offer comes in and the people from Dortmund think it's right, then they will sell him. With the pandemic, if something goes wrong in the Bundesliga and we can't see football until the end of the year, then it's not the right moment to talk about players. They cost so much money. I think the price will drop anyway. All the clubs in Germany are losing a lot of money. Excuse me. It's not the same without money from tickets and sponsors, and so it'll be difficult to keep your best players. Interesting bit of article, so we'll have a bit of a discussion around it with Jadon Sancho. Fruend did suggest that, why not for Jadon Sancho to stay at Dortmund for a year. I mean, Dortmund are a big club. He can still develop there and put a lot of good numbers. He goes on to touch on a bit around the pandemic, that if the German football does not restart, player asking prices will drop significantly. German clubs are losing money, and the thing is that it's a double-edged sword there, right? if German clubs are losing money, they need to stay afloat. They're not in the level as financially in terms of finance power in the level of Manchester United. So maybe Dortmund might have to shell out a couple of players, same with other clubs around the world, to balance the books. Personally, I do not think there will be many big, massive signings because of the pandemic. I think there will be a lot of loan signings and probably installment signings. But going back to Jadon Sancho, it's a bit of an interesting article. You know, he did mention Real Madrid in particular, and he did mention Luka Jovic in particular. Luka Jovic, if you remember, was one of the most sought after strikers in world football about a season and a half ago, I believe. And to be frank, Real Madrid do not have the best track record of developing youngsters. We've seen that in the past. In fact, I cannot remember the last Real Madrid player coming out of the youth ranks and doing very well, going on to have a very successful career. I think Sergio Ramos could be one, and Iker Casillas was one, but correct me if I'm wrong. But you had about a few seasons ago, remember Odegaard? Odegaard moved there, nothing came out of it. Luka Jovic is an example now. So I disagree with him on that. I think there are certain clubs that will that will make an investment, that will make an effort to develop youngsters or develop players or give them game time. Manchester United is definitely in their current state is one of them. He goes on to say that what I forgot what he goes on to say that Manchester United are in a building situation. They're challenging for the Champions League, trying to rebuild, so the pressures are different. But you see, that's what separates from a really good player to a world-class player. If he really wants to come to United, he will know well in advance what we are going through, and despite what we are going through, and he ends up coming to United, that shows the mental bottle of the kid, right? To come into a club and be the reason to uplift them, be the reason to potentially win trophies, be the reason to complete the final piece of puzzle. I don't know about any other players, but for me personally, that is a very interesting project to go down in the history books. People can look back and say, you know what, Jadon Sancho was the reason why we won XYZ. Jadon Sancho was the reason why the team is doing so well. You look at a classic example, which is now a classic example, Bruno Fernandes, how much of an impact he has had since he come in, and he's only played 2 months. And these are the things that separate elite mentality players to world-class players, in my opinion. So I do disagree on some points with Stefan Freund there, but there are certain things that possibly, he has a point. Like Borussia Dortmund are challenging in the Champions League, are competing in the Champions League, and also somewhat competing in the Bundesliga. They have a very exciting squad, very young squad. They've got few world-class players, one of the best strikers young strikers in the world, in my opinion. They play exciting football. The club and the fans are good. So I do understand if Jadon Sancho wants to stay another year, but personally for me, being a selfish man, I will definitely take Jadon Sancho right now. And I think with the rumours becoming stronger and stronger, Liverpool coming into the fray, according to him, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few weeks. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you feel Jadon Sancho should stay at Dortmund for 1 year? Do you agree with Stefan Freund? Or do you think he should leave and move on to another club? Preferably, in my case, Manchester United, but another club. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's move on to the next bit of news. Obviously, it was breaking yesterday, I believe. Ighalo. So Manchester United face losing Odion Ighalo when his loan deal expires at the end of the month. The striker's deal from Shanghai Shenhua ends on 31st May, and it is understood the Chinese Super League club have been reluctant to extend it. United are keen to keep him for the rest of the season, with the Premier League intending to resume next month, which is not confirmed, by the way. While the deal is not completely dead, Shanghai have not been open to agreeing a new one, with the season due to start in June, after it was delayed from February due to the coronavirus pandemic. So that's the bit around Ighalo, there was breaking news yesterday, I believe, with reports saying that Shanghai Shenhua have apparently offered Odion Ighalo a bumper new contract to extend his deal, somewhat in the region of what, 75 million pound over 4 years, which is a hell of a lot of money for someone like Ighalo. And I think that is probably the nail in the coffin. Money does talk at the end of the day. Very rarely these days players stay because they want to stay, but clearly Ighalo wants to stay. He did come out and say it. We are interested in keeping him, but Shanghai Shenhua has come up, as you know, money talks, man. Come up and bang, if reports are to be believed. Look, I liked him. He had a short spell, one that would be quickly forgotten, in my opinion, in about a year's time. But we do need a striker. He did offer something different up front. He did get a few goals, and he has a good attitude to him. He trains hard, he works hard on the field as well. You can see in his physique as well. But to be able to see Shanghai Shenhua China League starting in July, it's a bit strange given the pandemic situation down there where it originated from. I guess they just want to get football and sports running there in general to keep the population morale high. But that's the latest around Odion Ighalo. Moving on to the next bit of news is, according to this article, Manchester United keen on in-demand Wolves striker. I don't understand why they don't make the sentences more easier to read. With reports Odion Ighalo set to leave Old Trafford with his loan finishes this summer, Manchester United remain in the market for a new striker. Wolves' Raul Jimenez continues to be linked with a move, but United could face competition from Juventus, say Tuttosport. The Italian giants are set to be keen on the Mexican as an alternative to Napoli's Milic, who they are also pursuing. Jimenez, who has scored 22 times in all competitions for the Midlands side, is set to command a huge fee, with Wolves set to demand upwards of £50 million for his signature. This may work in United's favour, as Juve won't be prepared to pay the asking price outright, however may try and throw in some players in part exchange deal. That's the bit of a report coming out from Jimenez in regards to Raul Jimenez. We do know that about a week and a half ago there were massive rumours going everywhere that Wolves are interested in another striker and Jimenez might have to make way. Look, I said it from my videos in the past where I was covering this transfer speculation, and I'm a fan of Raul Jimenez. I think he will be a great signing at United. He's at a perfect age not to stifle Mason Greenwood's development, not to take away Martial's number 9 starting berth week in, week out. Being at that age, coming in, playing 50-60 games in all competitions, there will be rotations, of course. We do need a striker. He is Premier League proven. He's a powerful striker. He's pacey. He's clever in the box. And he's got a great upper body as well. Certainly something different to what we have. Definitely an upgrade to what we have as well in terms of certain aspects of his physique, his technique as well. Obviously, this article does say that Juventus are in for him if they fail to pursue or land the key number 1 target, Milic. But the asking price might be a bit much for Juve, and I think that will be a lot of problems. That will be problems for a lot of clubs in around the world, given the situation we are all in, except for Manchester United. I think Manchester United are very healthy, but I don't believe many clubs will be paying straight up fees. I think there will be installment fees, bonus fees, etc., etc. That's what I believe that will happen in this transfer going forward. But that's the latest on Raul Jimenez. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Would you like to see Raul Jimenez in a Manchester United shirt? If he does come, do you think he will start ahead of Anthony Martial? Or do you think he will be more of a rotational striker? Would he be happy being a rotational striker? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Moving on to the next bit of news. So, okay, I'm gonna go through it. Juventus are obviously trying to offload a couple of players. I think they do not have the money. They are trying to do some part exchange here and there. But this is according to a report that's appearing, with the Italian giants said to be keen on securing a reunion with Paul Pogba. A number of players will allegedly be allowed to leave Turin during the next window, according to Tuttosport. That has resulted in United asking Juventus whether they are prepared to sell Demiral and Costa. Centre-back Demiral, a previous target for Leicester City, had made just 7 appearances this season before suffering a serious knee injury in January. Meanwhile, Costa, who turns 30 in September, has failed to impress since the Italian giants paid £35.2 million for his signature in 2018. The report adds that United do not want the Brazilian winger to be included in any deal involving Paul Pogba. Look, let's just go straight to Douglas Costa's stats. This is Douglas Costa. He's a right winger, one of the positions that I believe is very paramount to how we go on to about in this particular transfer window. But 18 games, 2 goals, 5 assists. I don't know about you, but that is a very poor return. Him at the age of 30, potentially a part exchange for Paul Pogba, is a disastrous move. And I think a lot of these reports that's coming out, I don't think they have credible sources. I don't think they are credible at all. But it just doesn't go away, which is a bit frustrating to see. I think if Manchester United fall into that trap of securing part exchanges for one of the best midfielders in the world, in my opinion, when he does decide to play, it's going to be a disaster for us. Yes, we need a right winger, but we need a right winger, right? Douglas Costa, household name, everybody knows him, but he's been absolutely a disaster. And he's at an age where over the next couple of years, he will certainly be declining for sure. So, I don't think United and Douglas Costa are meant for each other. In terms of Merih Demiral, to be frank, I've never heard of him. If he has had a serious knee injury in January, I think Manchester United should consider waiting a little bit, see how he makes his comeback, see if there is a persistent injury, and take it from there if they are interested in someone like Demiral. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below in regards to Merih Demiral. Is he the player that you've seen play? Is he the player that you'll recommend as a centre-back? I would like to find out your thoughts. Last bit of news is Dean Henderson. So Dean Henderson is having a stellar season at Sheffield United, on loan obviously, and there are suggestions that with the Premier League postponed, where does that leave with loan signings? According to the Telegraph, Manchester United are ready to sanction an extension for Dean Henderson's loan at Sheffield United and allow him to finish the season at Bramall Lane. So, according to sources, according to sources at Sheffield United, they are confident of a positive, this is becoming serious, positive outcome, and that Henderson will play a full part in the remaining games of the season, apart from the away games at his parent club. Quick bit of article around Dean Henderson. Look, I think he's our future goalkeeper. I think he's a future number 1. Yes, David De Gea is still there, but Dean Henderson is still young. You know, at the age of 23, he's having a stellar season. He's from our youth product as well. And for United to allow Dean Henderson stay and continue his development, I think is the right move. I think him coming back to Manchester United at this time with David De Gea and Sergio Romero in the ranks, whether he's not going to get many game time, but I do believe over the years he's going to be a fantastic acquisition back into the lineup. Obviously, I do believe he has a very good future ahead of him at Manchester United. But that's it, guys. These are all the transfer speculation. Some of them are transfer news in regards to Manchester United. Do get involved in the comments below. Always love to see your thoughts in the comments section. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next upload, and stay farafari.